Okay, now I'm back after you so rudely interrupted me while I was filming the first part. But you'll never see it because I just started over. So, what am I talking about today? Your father's story. We are still on the first part of the book. Describe your father, my grandfather. Did he have any funny habits? All right, this is a good one. So we get to talk about Old Wild Bill. Your grandfather, Mr. William Patrick Duffy Coombs. One heck of a character. He had a lot of funny habits, actually. Let's see. Well, first, his kind of the way that he would talk to people is pretty funny. Because he'd always, Papa was always very thoughtful. And so usually he'd take his time before he'd answer a question. So he'd pause and think about it for a minute. And then he'd always, at the beginning of his sentences, he'd always have some kind of weird, funny, or not weird, but just like a different kind of funny saying. He'd say, well, Case. He'd say things like that. He had a lot of really great sayings and yeah, always made people laugh. Great character. What were his other funny habits? He had this one where he would, well, you saw it. I mean, it got even worse after his stroke, but he did this even before that. It was basically if you ever gave Papa any kind of like appetizers, he would basically treat it as a full course meal. And so, if you gave him hard boiled eggs or any kind of dip, I mean, that was meant for everybody, he would eat all of it, like all of it. And it was terrible. It was pretty funny though. I mean, yeah, he would, you'd put something out in front of him. I remember it was like all the time at Kevin's house. Eventually, Kevin just wised up to it, and he would just give him his own plate of whatever it is, hard boiled eggs or artichoke dip or whatever it was. Yeah, it was pretty funny. He had a ton of great habits. Another one, this is when it was actually terrifying. He did this before his stroke. Um, he did this ever since I was a little kid. I remember he would drive me to school. Um, and so he had this tendency, he would drive me to school, and during the time that he was driving me, he'd probably only be looking at the road maybe 50% of the time. Uh, yeah, there wasn't any cell phones or any of those kinds of technological distractions. He would just be cruising along. He'd look at the road and then kind of gradually look back, just kind of stare off into the distance. Didn't seem like he was looking at anything close because his gaze would kind of like be very slow. But I remember being pretty terrified a few times when I was a kid, just because it was like, oh God, we're gonna slam into something. This old man doesn't start paying attention to the road. What else? He had a lot of funny habits. I definitely miss that old man. Yeah, lots of good, funny stories. But yeah, those three that I just talked about, by far, yeah, those are his. Those were the three things that were very common to the old man. I definitely, yeah, I think about him a lot. Actually, I think about the old man pretty much every day. So, um, I was very blessed to have a dad like that. Who had all those funny habits and who was just an awesome human being. And same with you. You were also very lucky because you got to, you're the oldest grandkid, and so you got to spend a lot of time with him. And so you probably know plenty more of his funny habits than I do. So, anyways, that's what I got for you this week, kiddo. To be continued. We'll make an effort, like I said, to make or not an effort. I'll put a calendar thing every Sunday. I'll sit down and do a 5-10 minute video or so. So anyhow, that's the video for this week, and I'll see you this Sunday. Love you.